Continental League made up ground on us in 1964. Is our reign at the top about to end? Welcome back to the Baseball Dreamland channel, where we're entering Season 5 of the Continental League Challenge with the Minnesota Twins and Out of the Park Baseball 25. Our aging Twins captured the best record in baseball, but fell below the 100-win plateau and spent September fighting off the Blue Jays. We fell easily to the New York Yankees in the Continental Series, who then lost to Norm Cash and the Detroit Tigers in the World Series. With no top draft picks last season, our minor league system is barren. There is some happy news, which is Tom Satriano has become the first ever Gold Glove Award winner from the Minnesota Twins. The real-life Twins, known in this world as the Montreal Royals, also got their first Gold Glove Award in 1964 from right fielder Tony Oliva. Houston Colts catcher Eloy Gutierrez and New York Mets third baseman Johnny Lewis also secured Gold Gloves for the Continental League in 1964. A Minnesota Twin won Rookie of the Year for the second straight season. This time it was 17-game winner Bob Garibaldi beating out Bill Sorrell and Larry Dierker. Willie Mays won his second straight MVP, and Tom Satriano finished fifth in that voting. Al Downing won his second straight Cy Young Award, and Eddie Fisher of the Houston Colts won Fireman of the Year, where Twins closer Bill Henry finished fifth. Our goal remains to win the World Series before the Montreal Royals or any of the other Continental League clubs can. The Royals are coming off a last place finish in the American League and don't seem like a threat. If we keep control of the Continental League, we're probably safe. Now here's some really good news. Our fan interest increased to very good, and we got another big budget boost. This time in time for the free agent draft. Suddenly we have the 5th largest budget in all of baseball. More importantly, we have the 3rd highest available budget, which is the driver of the draft lottery odds. This is just in time because Wheelock Whitney is demanding an improved farm system by the end of the season. The first MLB draft occurred in 1965 as the owners attempted to implement more competitive balance and reduce signing bonuses. But in this world, the American League and National League owners have zero interest in competitive balance with Continental League clubs. The lottery continues, and hopefully it'll be kind to us. We enter 1965 with the 10th highest payroll in baseball. Bob Garibaldi, Ken McBride, and Ed Brinkman all received major raises after their excellent performances in 1964. On the other hand, Ralph Terry took a large pay cut, and we're only carrying 26 players on our 40-man roster. This kept our payroll flat from 1964 and helped build all that available budget space. Our premier draft lottery status arrives at just the right time. It's an incredible position player draft class and includes real-life Hall of Famers Rod Carew and Johnny Bench, plus 7 other 5-star position players. But I'd argue the pitcher class is even stronger, boasting future Hall of Famers Nolan Ryan, Don Sutton, Catfish Hunter, and Raleigh Fingers. And not only did we get a high pick, we get 4 of them. The lottery has blessed us with the number 2, number 5, number 8, and number 13 picks. The Dodgers will pick first and earned 6 first-rounders. The Colorado Rockies will pick 4th and 22nd. The Rangers and Mets also landed first-round picks, while the Colts get 2 early second-rounders. Continental League is going to receive a major infusion of young talent this season. After the Los Angeles Dodgers selected Nolan Ryan, we chose 19-year-old starting pitcher Don Sutton. Our scout projects him as our ace right out of the gate. Like Tony Conigliaro a few seasons ago, he'll skip our minor league system entirely. The key watch point is low work ethic and intelligence, which may prevent him from reaching his full potential. Rod Carew and Mike Epstein were selected next, which freed us up to select 16-year-old catcher Johnny Bench with the 5th pick. He's got a lot of development to do, starting in Single-A Duluth. I'm hopeful he'll be ready for the big leagues in the next few seasons as 34-year-old Del Crandall ages out of the starting job. Bob Moose and Bernie Carbo came off the board next, and we chose 18-year-old outfielder Bobby Bonds with the 8th overall pick. Center fielder Jim Landis is entering his 30s, and I'm looking for Bonds to ultimately succeed him. He'll join Johnny Bench in Duluth. 5 picks later, we've selected 19-year-old starting pitcher Don Wilson. He isn't far from being big league ready, With our starting rotation in excellent shape, we have the luxury of letting Wilson develop for a season or two, so he'll start in Double-A Fox Cities. This was also a deep rookie free agent class that left interesting players for us in the 3rd and 4th rounds. Doug Griffin, Danny Walton, and Mike Corkins will all start in the low minors and could push for roster spots on our big club in the future. The other Continental League clubs landed big prospects as well. First baseman Mike Epstein was selected by Colorado 4th overall and will make their opening day roster. The Rockies also selected 18-year-old catcher Gene Tennis at 22nd overall. The Texas Rangers picked Catfish Hunter, who will team up with former Twin Billy Lowe's atop the Rangers' starting rotation. The New York Mets chose starting pitcher Jim Bibby with the 20th overall pick. Houston used their second-round picks on left fielder Leroy Stanton and outfielder Rick Monday, but neither of these players will ever become Houston Colts because the Colts are moving into a brand new world-famous 8th wonder of the world, the Astrodome, and changing their name to the Astros. The Astrodome will be the most pitcher-friendly ballpark in the Continental League, particularly when it comes to home run suppression. Renovations to Metropolitan Stadium will make it play more home run friendly in 1965. Now for trades. We sent 3 players and some cash to the Montreal Royals during the winter meetings. The first player is our starting center fielder Jim Landis. Since being acquired from the White Sox for Chuck Hinton in 1962, he's supplied 47 home runs, 30 stolen bases, a 135 WRC+, and 11 wins above replacement for the Twins. First baseman Dalton Jones is the second player traded. He joined the Twins in the middle of the 1962 after being selected in the second round of the 1961 draft. Since then, he's accumulated 24 home runs, 11 stolen bases, 113 WRC+, and 6 wins above replacement. Number 45 prospect Bob Montgomery is the final player dealt. The other second-rounder from the 1962 draft, this 20-year-old outfielder has yet to reach the big leagues, but he's just finished a 4-WAR season in AAA and will join Montreal's outfield in 1965. So we've just created holes at first base and center field while giving 2 young players to a team we need to be bad, so this better be good. And I think acquiring our first real-life twin, Harmon Killebrew, is worth the investment. Jerry Park has really sapped his power since the Senators moved to Montreal, but my scout thinks all that power is still there, so we're going to insert him into the Twins lineup behind Tony Conigliaro. With this trade, Bobby Del Greco will move to center field, leaving our hole at third base to be temporarily filled by light-hitting Eddie Casco. We didn't select anyone in this year's Rule 5 draft. The Rangers acquired second baseman Celestio Cepeda from the Yankees, while the Mets got second baseman Jerry Adair from the White Sox. Then we acquired 3 players through waivers just before opening day. Jack Curtis gives us a left-handed reliever to replace the retired Diomedes Olivo. He's made just 11 appearances for the White Sox over 3 seasons. Don Locke will join our outfield from the New York Yankees. He appeared in 107 games for New York over 4 seasons, posting a 124 WRC+, along with a win above replacement. Our final acquisition is reigning Fireman of the Year and single-season saves record holder Eddie Fisher from the Houston Astros. While his 1964 performance isn't supported by his ratings, putting him on waivers seems a little bit extreme, so thanks, Houston. Our manager is inserting Fisher as our opening day stopper. Pitching coach Mike Vander Zanden retired, so we promoted former Cleveland Indians pitcher Earl Henry to the position. To improve our staff cohesion, we fired first base coach Danny Davis and hired former Red Sox, Giants, and Dodgers pitcher Bill Sales. The Royals enter 1965 as off-season winners based on WAR gained. The big losers are the Milwaukee Braves, as star third baseman Eddie Matthews was forced into retirement after fracturing his elbow last season. The 33-year-old's career ends prematurely with 458 home runs and 73 wins above replacement. The Los Angeles Dodgers now have the top minor league system in baseball, with 12 players in the top 50. We've jumped from 16th to 3rd thanks to those 4 first-round draft picks. Don Sutton has been named the number 1 prospect in baseball. Johnny Bench is 7th, Don Wilson is 9th, and Bobby Bonds' 15th. The Rockies, Astros, Rangers have all improved their place in the rankings, and the Continental League clubs now possess competitive systems. And here are your opening day 1965 Minnesota Twins. 16 players remain from last year's opening day roster. Sutton and Killebrew highlight the infusion of top talent onto the roster, while key players like Harvey Haddix, Bill Henry, Del Crandall, Ed Boucher, and Bobby Del Greco are entering their twilight years. But this team is younger and more talented than a year ago. Time to welcome the Astros in for opening day. Offensive liability. Eddie Casco got us on the board with an RBI single in the second inning, and former Houston closer Eddie Fisher came on in the ninth and finished off his old team for a 1-0 victory. In other games, Mets ace Mike Garcia won his second straight opening day start, defeating the Peaches 7-3. George Thomas's 2 homers and Ken Johnson's shutout helped the Rockies to a 7-0 win over the Bisons. Billy Lowe's pitching helped the Texas Rangers to a 3-1 extra inning win against the Blue Jays. Tom Satriano puts us up 3-0 in the 5th against Catfish Hunter and the Rangers. 3 batters later, Ed Boucher sends a moonshot over the center field fence for a 6-0 lead. The resulting 7-2 victory moves Don Sutton to 3-0 on the season, while Catfish Hunter falls to 0-4. We finish April a fruitful 11-5, but in third place as the Rockies and Peaches have come to play in 1965. Tom Satriano crushed the baseball to a tune of a 1039 OPS, and he's on pace for 14 wins above replacement. The whole rotation has been effective, as has Don Wilson, who won Pitcher of the Month for AA Fox Cities. Mets Ed Boucher hit his 5th home run of the season off Gaylord Perry. Don Sutton was dominant for his 7th win and first career shutout, striking out 8 in the process. Sutton won MLB Rookie of the Month award for May and lowered his ERA to 1.99 in the process. We finished a solid 18-11 but remained 2.5 games back of the red-hot Colorado Rockies. Atlanta is right behind us, but I don't know what's going on with Houston and Toronto after they played us so tight last season. Tony Conigliaro broke out with 8 home runs and a 1022 OPS in May. He and Harmon Killebrew shared the team lead with 12 homers on the season. On the other hand, the Eddie Casco experiment did not work. We're moving a struggling Bobby Del Greco to third base and installing waiver wire acquisition Don Locke in center field. Down in the minors, Don Wilson is now 10-0, while Johnny Bench won Player of the Month in A-ball. Ed Boucher sends his 12th homer of the season into Buffalo's right field bleachers, and Tom Satriano wraps up the scoring with his 11th home run. Twins win 8-3. That win concludes June, which saw us finish with a 23-4 record, including a 13-game winning streak. We also hit the trifecta of June awards. Tony Conigliaro smashed 11 homers and was named MLB Batter of the Month. He's only 10 points of batting average away from the Triple Crown. Ken McBride went 6-0 with a 1.07 ERA to win MLB Pitcher of the Month. He's now 11-2 with a 1.79 ERA on the season, which is right behind Don Sutton, who won MLB Rookie of the Month by going 5-0 with a 1.47 ERA. Yet despite all of this domination, we're only 2.5 games in front of the Colorado Rockies, because they finished June with a 20-11 record, and they're currently riding an 11-game winning streak. Everything isn't perfect in the Twins organization, though. Harvey Haddix is out with an abdominal issue. Infielder Eddie Casco is 0 for his last 33. Mike Ryan has taken the starting catcher torch from the declining Del Crandall, and Don Wilson lost his first game in AA. 18 trades were completed in Major League Baseball this deadline, and 5 of them included our Twins. Wheelock Whitney wants me to win now, so I kinda went nuts. We're a big budget club now, so it's time to act like it. So, what have we done? Our blockbuster move was sending 32-year-old outfielder Ed Boucher to the Cleveland Indians. Since being acquired off waivers from the Cubs in August of 1961, Boucher has mashed 77 home runs, posted a 145 WRC+, and accumulated 17 wins above replacement. He was a monster during our 1962 upset of the San Francisco Giants and won MLB Batter of the Month in September of 1963. Now he takes over in left field for the first place Indians, so we could see him again soon. Mike Ryan also heads to Cleveland just after earning the starting catching job in Minnesota. We originally acquired Ryan in the 1963 Rule 5 draft from the Boston Red Sox. He hit 12 home runs and posted 1.5 WAR across 2 seasons of part-time duty for our Twins. In return, we received 30-year-old catcher Johnny Romano. Romano has spent 7 years in the big leagues with the White Sox and Indians and has 109 home runs, 131 WRC+, and 28 wins above replacement. He'll hit 5th behind Tony Conigliaro and Harmon Killebrew. In a much smaller move, we traded minor league reliever Don Arledge to the Washington Senators. He was a third-round draft pick in the 1961 draft and made 1 appearance for our Twins. We received utility infielder Coco LeBoy in exchange. LeBoy bounced between the Giants, Orioles, and Athletics as a minor leaguer. After breaking in with Kansas City, he moved with the team to Washington and is now headed to Minnesota, where he'll provide our Twins with infield depth. We traded our 19th round pick from the original dispersal draft and now number 73 MLB prospect Tito Barcenas to the Detroit Tigers. He's got some upside, but ultimately the combination of low stamina, an unmotivated personality, and injury proneness made me willing to deal him. In exchange, we fill our hole at third base with 27-year-old Don Wirt. He's been Detroit's starting third baseman since 1963, collecting 8 WAR and a World Series ring over 500 games played there. In addition to playing third base, he's going to lead off for us. And meanwhile, we've optioned Coco LeBoy to AAA Nashville to make room on the roster for him. Then we traded the reigning Rookie of the Year Bob Garibaldi to the Boston Red Sox. He was a third-round pick in the 1961 rookie free agent draft, got September call-ups in 62 and 63, before breaking out in 1964 with 17 wins and 5 wins above replacement. That makes over 7 WAR for his entire Twins career, with many more to come in Boston. We also sent Billy Murphy, a 6th-round pick from 1961, Jim Glover, a 13th-round pick from 1962, and $200,000 in cash to the Red Sox to acquire 23-year-old knuckleballer Wilbur Wood. Wood has been in the big leagues with the Red Sox since 1962 and accumulated 14 wins above replacement over 4 seasons. He'll slot third in our rotation behind Don Sutton and Ken McBride. We traded minor league infielder Arnaldo Suarez for 24-year-old reliever Maurice Stevens. We'll assign him to AAA, but he's one to keep an eye on for next season. Wilbur Wood's Twins career got off to a rough start when he walked 4 batters in the first inning, but Tony Conigliaro rescued the game by smashing a go-ahead home run, his 28th of the season in top of the 8th inning, and we beat the Bisons 4-3. We closed July with a 19-8 record, but the Rockies are staying close, just 3.5 games behind, and we still face them 12 more times this season. Harmon Killebrew hit 6 homers and now has 24 on the season. Don Sutton posted a 1.80 ERA with 33 strikeouts to go with just 3 walks for yet another Rookie of the Month award. He's now 16-3 on the season. Ken McBride is chasing that record. Not only does he pick up another win against the New York Mets, he just pitched a no-hitter. McBride carried a perfect game into the 8th inning when he walked Jim Price with 2 outs. He struck out 5 and threw only 90 pitches in the process. Trade acquisition Johnny Romano took Catfish Hunter deep in the first inning, and he wasn't done as this bases-clearing double made it 6-0 over the Rangers. That win extends our lead to 6 games in the Continental League. Don Sutton won his 22nd game and collected MLB Pitcher of the Month in August, earning 6 wins with a 1.57 ERA. Johnny Romano made himself right at home with 8 homers, while Tony Conigliaro knocked 10 out to take the MLB lead with 38 homers on the season. Johnny Bench won Top Batter of the Month in A-Ball, and we've called up Maurice Stevens, John Upham, and Coco LeBoy for our September goal to knock out the Rockies. And thanks to a scheduling quirk, we're about to play a 7-game home and away series against them. And they're a dangerous team thanks to 22-year-old MVP favorite Rico Petrocelli, who is dueling Pete Rose for the MLB batting crown. Rookie first baseman Mike Epstein has made a good partner in the middle of their lineup, and they boast the best bullpen ERA in baseball. After splitting the first 2 games, Bobby Del Greco's 7th-inning home run was his second of the third game, putting us up 13-0. But the following day, Rico Petrocelli's bases-clearing triple off Maury Stevens in the 7th inning earned the Rockies a series split. Off to Colorado. Ken Johnson struck out Don Wirt to finish his complete game and 19th win of the season. We split the final 2 games, so the Rockies take 4 of 7, which certainly isn't ideal, but we're still 5 games in front with only 19 games left to play. We wouldn't clinch the Continental League on the 21st against the Rangers. In the grand tapestry of sports, few moments stand as towering monuments to human excellence. One such moment is the perfect game in baseball, which Don Sutton has just achieved. It's our second no-hitter of the season, Sutton's 24th win of the season, and it took him 101 pitches to collect our 101st win of the season, making our magic number 3. Just 4 days later, we did clinch our 4th straight Continental League title at Shea Stadium with just 8 games left to play. We finished with a franchise record 108 wins and 12 games ahead of Colorado. Atlanta jumped from 6th to 3rd, while Toronto slid from 2nd to 7th. Harmon Killebrew knocked out 10 homers, beating out Tony Conigliero's 9 for September. Wilbur Wood collected 4 wins and posted a 1.48 ERA. Unfortunately, reliever Tom Morgan is out for the season with a hamstring strain. Don Wilson finished with 5 wins above replacement in Double-A. Johnny Bench improved as the Single-A season progressed to finish with 3 WAR. Both should get promoted a level for next season. Bobby Bonds, though, will need to repeat A-ball after struggling at the plate with a sub-700 OPS. The defending World Series champion Tigers sank all the way to 6th place, and the New York Yankees overtake Cleveland over the last weekend of the season to repeat as American League champions. The Montreal Royals are still bad. Jim Landis was mediocre, while Dalton Jones accumulated a full win below replacement before getting shipped to Pittsburgh at the deadline. The Pittsburgh Pirates improved by 22 games to win the National League crown, while the Giants will play the wild card game for the 2nd straight season. The Cardinals went from NL champions to 92 losses and a 7th placed finish. We finished first in runs scored and runs against for a dominant plus 359 run differential. The only categories we didn't lead the league in are batter strikeout rate, stolen bases, pitching strikeout rate, range factor, and zone rating. Of course, we did it all against the weaker Continental League. Let's see if we can do it against the Yankees or the Pirates. Tony Conigliero led all of baseball with 47 home runs, 126 runs batted in, and 355 total bases. Harmon Killebrew led the league with 121 runs. Tom Satriano, Johnny Romano, and Ed Brinkman all made a bunch of top 10 appearances as well. Dick Allen of the Philadelphia Phillies led the league in 7 offensive categories, but it was our worthy nemesis, Rico Petrocelli's turn to lead the league in wins above replacement. Tom Satriano completed his 2nd consecutive 10-WAR season. He led the club in hits, triples, stolen bases, and batting average with elite shortstop defense. Tony Conigliero bounced back with a nice 8 WAR in his 3rd season, and Ed Brinkman just keeps getting better with 35 doubles and 10 triples for a 4.7 WAR season of his own. Harmon Killebrew loves Minnesota and put a career-best 7.5 WAR. Don Locke, Wayne Norton, and Ted Savage also had their career-best seasons. Johnny Romano was as advertised upon his arrival from Cleveland. Don Wirt, not so great at the plate, but made up for it with his glove. Don Sutton led all of baseball with 25 wins, a 1.82 ERA, 2.17 FIP, and a 4.5-1 strikeout-to-walk ratio. Ken McBride posted a league-leading .87 whip and .821 winning percentage. Louis Tiant and Eddie Fisher each scored some leaderboard appearances as well. Al Downing blocked Don Sutton's pitching triple crown by striking out 310 batters and breaking the record for strikeouts per 9 innings with 10.15. He also led the league with 9.8 WAR. Don Dennis of the Chicago White Sox tied Eddie Fisher's record for the most single-season saves with 31. Don Sutton was simply unstoppable and finished with 9 wins above replacement. Ken McBride won 20 games for his 3rd straight season. Louis Tiant posted a career-best 2.36 ERA with 4 WAR. Harvey Haddix continued to perform well with a reduced workload, and Wilbur Wood did well since arriving in July. The only bummer is no bullpen standouts. Everyone was pretty good, nobody was great. Marty Q of the Rangers posted the best hitting performance of the season with 5-hit, 3-homer, 7 RBI game against the Peaches. Tony Conigliaro had a 3-homer performance that didn't make the list. Fergie Jenkins had one of the best pitching performances with a 3-hit shutout and 14 strikeouts against the New York Mets. Our guys pitched a no-hitter and a perfect game, and neither made this list. These game scores are losing credibility. Congratulations to Ernie Banks on registering his 400th career homer and 1,000th career run. Al Kaline reached 2,000 hits, and Frank Robinson hit his 300th home run. Mike Garcia and Whitey Ford each collected their 200th career win. Leon Wagner posted the season's longest hitting streak with 24. Jim Ray Hart's 4th-inning home run put the San Francisco Giants up 4-1 in the wild card game. Willie McCovey's blast made it 6-1 the following inning, and Cleveland finishes the season with 5 losses in a row. The victorious Giants will face the New York Yankees in one Continental Series, and we head to Forbes Field for Game 1 of the other series against the 93-win Pittsburgh Pirates. Maurice Stevens makes the postseason roster in place of injured Tom Morgan. The Pirates are in the postseason for the first time since their 1960 World Series championship. And they have some very young talent. They've got 20-year-old Dave Boswell, 23-year-old Mel Stottlemyre in their rotation, 25-year-old Wes Parker, 22-year-old Bob Bailey, 25-year-old Willie Stargell, and 21-year-old Paul Blair all in their lineup. Roberto Clemente is the only major contributor over 30. And keep an eye out for ex-twin Dalton Jones, who made the Pirates' postseason roster. Center fielder Paul Blair led their position players with 7 WAR, and Bob Bailey was right behind him with a 30-home run season. Their starting rotation is well-balanced, all 4 won 13 games or more, but Mel Stottlemyre led the way with 17 and a team-high 5 WAR. As their star ratings suggest, there aren't any dominant players. There's a bunch of players in their pre-peak years, which gives us a shot in this series. Tom Satriano's 2-run double gave us a 5th-inning lead, and Maury Stevens was able to wiggle out of a 9th-inning jam for an 8-5 Game 1 victory. Johnny Romano broke the Game 2 pitchers duel in the 4th with a 3-run homer off Mel Stottlemyre, and Don Wirt closed out the scoring with a 2-run shot in the 7th inning. It's a great start to the series. We pulled out Game 1 despite Don Sutton surrendering 3 home runs, and then Ken McBride's sensational Game 2 performance sends us home up 2-0. The Pirates took the lead in Game 3, but Don Locke smashed a game-tying home run right off my new subscribe billboard in right center field. I think he's giving you all a hint. Anyway, Dick Stewart's RBI double in the 7th off Eddie Fisher put the Pirates back in front, and they held on for a 3-2 win. Don Locke's 1st-inning home run put us up 5-1 in Game 4, but Dick Stewart got us again, this time with a game-tying single. We went into extra innings where Harmon Killebrew muscled a ground ball through the infield. Tom Satriano tried to score from second and made it safely. It's a walk-off, and we're 1 win away from the World Series. And now 4 outs away, but Wes Parker doubled and scored on this Bob Bailey sacrifice fly. Then in the 8th, Tom Satriano rips a fly ball over the right field fence for a 4-3 lead. Maury Stevens relieved Don Sutton and struck out Joe Askew for the series win. So we were able to squeak out 2 of 3 nail-biters on our home field, and now we can rest up for either the Yankees or the Giants. Don Locke wins Continental Series MVP honors out of nowhere with 6 hits and a pair of home runs. Don Wirt earns honorable mention after disappointing during the regular season. Don Sutton couldn't dominate like in the regular season, but he walked away as the Game 1 and Game 5 winner. Ken McBride was stellar in Game 2 with 8 shutout innings and 9 strikeouts, and a shout out to Maury Stevens, who barely made the postseason roster, pitching 4 scoreless innings and collecting 2 saves. The other series went 6 games, and Game 6 was all Juan Marichal. He pitched a 5-hit shutout at Yankee Stadium to send the San Francisco Giants to the World Series. So it's Giants and Twins in the World Series, which will be our first time having home field advantage in any postseason series. We haven't seen the Giants since they erased a 3-1 series deficit against us in 1963. After Juan Marichal and Billy O'Dell, their rotation no longer has the same bite. They do have 21-year-old Dick Selma leading a very challenging bullpen. Willie McCovey, Joe Morgan, and Willie Mays will still make for a star-studded lineup with Orlando Cepeda coming off the bench. McCovey led the team with 43 home runs, 121 driven in, and a .403 on-base percentage, but it's Mays and his still strong defense leading the team in wins above replacement. The Giants are still outscoring everyone but us during the regular season, but their pitching was worse than league average. Marichal won 17 games with a sub-3 ERA and 5 WAR, and we just saw what he can do against the Yankees in the Continental Series. Don Demeter dominated Game 1 with 3 hits, including this 2-run homer against Ken McBride in the third. The Giants would hold on to win Game 1 6-3. It was Tony Conigliero's turn in Game 2. His 4th-inning home run tied the game at 1, and then this 6th-inning single scored the go-ahead run. Twins win 3-1. We'll head to Candlestick Park for Game 3 after Don Sutton's fine outing tied the series at 1 game apiece, but Juan Marichal awaits. Justin Romano will not be intimidated. His bases-clearing double in the first gave us an early 3-0 lead, then we smashed a solo homer off Bobby Bolin in the 8th for good measure. Twins win 6-2 and now lead the series. Tom Satriano's single scored Don Lock and put us in front of Game 4. Louis Tiant got out of trouble in the 6th and pitched 7 scoreless innings. Eddie Fisher retired Roy White for a 3-1 series lead. Tony Conigliero homered and Harmon Killebrew made it back-to-back in the top of the first, but a Willie Mays homer and this homer by Orlando Cepeda erased that lead in the second. Things quieted down until Tony Conigliero smashed his 2nd homer of the game to restore our lead. San Francisco rallied and retook the lead on an Eddie Brasseau double in the 8th, but Ed Brinkman's RBI double off Frank Lindsay tied it again. Then Bobby Del Greco struck out to strand Brinkman on 3rd, which opened the door for Willie McCovey to line a single to left off Harvey Haddix, scoring Joe Morgan and sending the series back to Minnesota. We head home with a 3-2 series lead, still 1 game away. For the 3rd straight time against the Giants, they won the opener, then we won 3 straight, and then they won Game 5. The Giants are riding the momentum of winning one of the wildest World Series games of all time. We, on the other hand, take comfort in Don Sutton starting Game 6. But if we lose, Juan Marichal is waiting for us in Game 7. It wouldn't be the first time we've blown a series lead against the Giants. Bobby Del Greco's opposite field home run put Sutton and our Twins up 4-0, and he just missed the subscribe sign. Good effort, though. Del Greco continued his assault on the right field fence in the 5th inning, racking up 3 more RBI in the process. 9 runs is way more than Don Sutton needs, though he wasn't able to complete the game. Bill Henry is going to receive that honor, and he poetically strikes out Joe Morgan, looking to earn the Minnesota Twins and the Continental League our first World Series championship. We've defeated the Giants in the postseason for the 2nd time, but this time we were simply the better team. Tony Conigliero put it well. We put a lot of work into this and deserve to be champions. Congratulations to Tony Conigliero on winning the World Series MVP award with 3 home runs. Harmon Killebrew posted a .1257 OPS during the series, and Don Sutton won 2 more starts. Willie Mays was unstoppable in a losing effort for the Giants. We are able to hoist the trophy after going 8-3 in the postseason. The Cleveland Indians and Pittsburgh Pirates both have young squads that could return to the postseason for years to come. The Yankees fall short again, and now it's been 7 seasons without a World Series championship. And with this victory, we have won our challenge in the process. The Colts/Astros provided a stiff test early while the Colorado Rockies were starting to become a threat this season, but we were able to hold them off, and surprisingly, the Montreal Royals became more and more irrelevant as the save progressed. They still feature some of the real-life Minnesota Twins that lost to the Dodgers in the real 1965 World Series. Harmon Killebrew, Camilo Pascual, and Mudcat Grant are gone. Zoilo Versailles, Tony Oliva, John Mincher, Bob Allison, Jimmy Hall, and Earl Beatty are still around but just didn't play well enough to compete. They finished 4th, 5th, 3rd, 8th, and 7th in the 5 years of this save. Even in 1963, they finished 7 games out of the American League wildcard, and as the results on the field plummeted, so was their budget and their ability to sign top rookie free agents. Ed Brinkman and Don Wirt both won Gold Glove awards, though Tom Satriano was displaced by Pirates youngster Mark Belanger. No other Continental League players earned one in 1965. Rico Petrocelli beat out Tony Conigliaro for the Most Valuable Player award, but a Minnesota Twin is Rookie of the Year for the 3rd straight season. Don Sutton is this year's recipient and also finished 2nd in the Cy Young voting to three-peat winner Al Downing. Willie Mays won his 2nd straight MVP, Tom Satriano finished 5th in that voting, and Darryl Knowles of the Atlanta Peaches is the Fireman of the Year. After the scramble in 1961, we dominated the Continental League from 1962 on and gradually built around our core to compete against the American and National Leagues. We finished with a .643 winning percentage and got our World Series in year 5, thus earning the Continental League credibility and respect of owners and fans alike. The Baltimore Orioles won back-to-back championships in '62 and '63, while the Giants collected a championship, 3 division titles, and 5 postseason appearances. Here are your 1965 World Series champion Minnesota Twins. It's time to say farewell, and as we do, let's check in on some of our former players, our noble adversaries, and our favorites. Leon Wagner owns a special place in MLB history as the single-season home run champion and the owner of 2 MVP awards. Renovations to Ponce de Leon Park have eaten into his power numbers, but he enjoyed renewed success with the Atlanta Peaches in 1965. Dean Chance was the first ever Continental League player and has been a dominant force in the league from the outset, accumulating 48 wins above replacement and a career 2.04 ERA in 5 seasons with Houston. He carried them to the Continental League title in 1961 and earned a pair of Cy Young awards. Ron Hansen has been the best shortstop in baseball throughout the save. He accumulated 32 wins above replacement over a 6-year career and demolished our Twins during the 1962 World Series. Al Downing has been the best pitcher in Major League Baseball, bagging 3 straight Cy Young awards, 39 wins above replacement, and insane strikeout numbers. He dominated our Twins during the 1964 Continental Series, and at 24 years of age, he's got plenty of time to hunt down a World Series ring. Willie Mays brought San Francisco their first World Series and collected 2 MVP awards during this save. We benefited from his season-ending injury in 1962, but he burned us in 1963 with a walk-off home run in Game 6 of the Continental Series. He's still highly productive at age 34. After being traded for Jim Landis, Chuck Hinton earned 6 wins above replacement over 3.5 seasons with the White Sox. He's still our franchise leader with a .305 career batting average and a .416 on-base percentage. After being a part of the Louis Tiant trade in 1964, Billy Lowe's earned 3 WAR over a season and a half with the Texas Rangers. Life back in the American League wasn't kind to Jim Landis after his trade for Harmon Killebrew. He only received 134 plate appearances on a Royals team that finished in 7th place. Ed Boucher missed the final month of the 1965 season, which contributed to Cleveland's collapse, but he still gets a ring and is part of an extremely talented Indians club entering his age 33 season. Harmon Killebrew was a massive first base upgrade in 1965 and became our first and only link to the real-life Minnesota Twins of the 1960s. 20-year-old Don Sutton won 25 games, won Rookie of the Year, pitched a perfect game, and won the World Series. Louis Tiant carried a 2.24 ERA as a Minnesota Twin while winning 18 games and posting 6 wins above replacement. Bobby Del Greco started at third base, left field, and center field at different points over 2.5 seasons with the Minnesota Twins. He smashed 39 home runs and totaled 11 wins above replacement during his time with us. We lucked into Tony Conigliaro with the first pick of the 1962 draft, 134 home runs, 3 consecutive RBI titles, a .600 career slugging percentage, and 22 wins above replacement later. He owns the 1963 Rookie of the Year award and the 1965 World Series MVP award. Harvey Haddix collected 21 wins above replacement over 4 seasons and won 22 games in 1963. Acquired as an end-of-career rental, he's aged remarkably gracefully and is still contributing at age 40. Ralph Terry was acquired in August 1961 and collected 12 wins above replacement since. He won 19 games in 1962, and his role has steadily decreased as upgrades joined our pitching staff. Only a handful of players remain from the original expansion draft. One of them is Ed Brinkman. After getting a cup of tea in 1961, he joined the big club in 1962 and became a defensive ace, an extra hit machine who is our franchise leader in doubles and triples. He's already accumulated 21 WAR, a Gold Glove Award, and a World Series ring at age 23. Tom Satriano is the Minnesota Twins franchise leader with 40 wins above replacement in 5 seasons with the club. He won a Gold Glove in 1964 and finished third in MVP voting this season. He's the Twins franchise's all-time leader in hits, walks, total bases, stolen bases, runs, and wins above replacement. He's still just 25. And finally, the original Minnesota Twin, Ken McBride. He totaled 25 wins above replacement, pitched a no-hitter, led the league in WHIP in 1965, collected 3 straight 20-win seasons. He's our franchise leader in wins, complete games, shutouts, and strikeouts. Well, that is a wrap for this series. It has been a fun ride, and it's kind of sad to see it end so quickly. A couple of odds and ends to close this up. If you're interested in trying this save from the start, check out the description. I have a link to a quick start. I'd love to hear your comments about what would have happened to this universe in 1966 and beyond. Would the MLB draft be approved? How would expansion in 1969 work? What about the playoff format? How are they going to handle that now that the Continental League is legitimate? And anything else you think is kind of worth discussing as part of the Continental League? I will be taking a short break before Out of the Park 26 content starts coming out, but I'll be back, and I hope you'll be there to watch.